Friends, I am so sorry for this super late review of The Sims 4 for rent, but I got super sick just 2 days after it was released, so I spent most of my time this week in bed, and I'm also sorry if you can still hear it on my voice, but I have to get this review done. It will not let me rest, it will not let me sleep, so we are doing it today. And I will be honest with you, I am not excited about recording or posting this review. I am trying to make this channel as positive as possible, but this pack made it super difficult. By fact, I got super frustrated multiple times, either on stream on my YouTube channel or also in my private gameplays. First just with my mods being updated, but then I went the most vanilla style I have played in years, with really all of my mods and CC disabled. The Sims team also did release a new update one day before this video is being recorded, so I was hoping they would fix some of these things and I would not have to be so critical, but unfortunately this release fixed just some minor issues. And I also do promise you, I did not go for 40 reasons for $40/euros. It happened actually to be 41, but I wanted it to sound better, so I cut it to 40. I was just writing them down and it ended up being 41, so 1 grace point for the Sims team, yay! If you want, you can guess in the comments which one I eliminated. Please know I will try to be as objective as possible with this review, also mentioning some positive things. And to the counter or reasons not to buy this pack for the full price of 40 euros/dollars, I will really only include things that are objectively broken, buggy, or unfinished. Simply things that make it feel like a university project rather than a full-blown expansion pack for $40. And trust me, there are some really juicy bags we will talk about. Also, I did pre-order The Sims 4 for rent for 40 euros from my own money just to bring you the content right after the release, so if you could give a little like to this video, I would be really very thankful. You might feel like it's nothing, but it really helps, so thank you very much. So let's get this over with, and we will start with the gameplay. Normally I would probably do gameplay as last, but because this is where the most bugs and insufficiencies are, I will start with gameplay. Also, if you didn't know, I personally am much more of a game player rather than, let's say, a builder, and I also want to point out I love management systems in different video games, so I was really excited about renting system to keep me busy for months now. At first it was very underwhelming, and second it was very buggy and frustrating. I'm also planning to make a whole video about how renting works and how to figure it out, so I will not get very technical in this video and I will mostly just point out some positives and negatives. I think it makes sense to start with looking for tenants. Once you have created your rental property, assigned rooms to different units, you can find a tenant. You set your daily rent based on your maximal possible rent and what potential tenants are willing to pay, which I find really great and meaningful. You set a lease period, unit rules, and choose a tenant you prefer. And already here I see multiple problems or unfinished details in my opinion. With your unit rating, you can see how you are doing regarding the unit size, amenities, environment, and maintenance. Maintenance is the one that can be improved only when your tenants have moved in during the lease period, so you cannot do much with that, but you can change the size, amenities, and environment from the build and buy mode. However, you have no idea, no progress bar telling you how close you are to progressing in one of these categories. For example, with size, it could be telling you, similar to tiny living, that you are just missing 5 tiles in order to rank up in this category. And that is great, I will just squeeze in those 5 tiles somewhere in order to have higher rating. With environment, you have environment score for different objects in build and buy. It looks like they scale from 1 for some basic things to 10 for some expensive paintings. But I kept adding some decorations and it would not do anything with the environment score. And this was so frustrating because maybe I was just missing 1 or 3 more points to the environment in order to rank up to next level, but there was no way to know. So generally this is a small detail that I think is missing and would make it so much more fun and so much less frustrating. I will get to the maintenance score later in this video. Now, unit rules, and these are making me so angry. Why do we have only 6 unit rules with all the 46 packs, counting also kids, 71 in total? Where is the no university students rule? Only cats and dogs not allowed rule, with small pets like hamsters being allowed. These are some real life rules that some apartments have. No werewolves allowed, or vampires. No seances allowed. No nectar drinking allowed. I don't know, I am not here to be the mind behind this, but I feel like 6 is just not enough. Or maybe just for base game only? We were supposed to have some fun here. Just like with creating holidays, you have so many tradition options to mix and match. Why the maximum occupancy rule means maximum 3 sims? Why can I not set the amount? Why can't I say that maximum occupancy is, for example, 5 sims? This feels a little bit unfinished. Next thing, why can I set some rules and then choose tenants who by nature do not fit into these rules? Why can I select a no pets rule and then choose a tenant with 3 cats and just find them? I feel like as soon as I choose the no pets rule, they should be grayed out in my menu of possible tenants. I would imagine that the no pets rule and also maximum occupancy rule would work a little bit different. For example, I rent out to 1 single tenant, and by some time they either invite more tenants or roommates to to come in or adopt some pets without telling me, and then I can fine them, but not that I can prosecute a fine just by nature. What also feels a little bit unfinished for me is there is nothing like a tenant rating, so I would just choose always my tenants based on who is offering the most money. How about if I could choose between a worse tenant based on their rating, who would offer more money but would maybe not want to pay rent on time or not want to pay fines, or a better tenant who would maybe not want to pay as much? I feel like this would make it a little bit more challenging and have me think about who I am choosing on other factors other than just money. This is this kind of depth that I would expect from an expansion pack for this price. Now let's move on to when your tenants move in. Something I personally really don't like, but I will not count it towards the counter, is that you can see empty rooms for the units you don't live in, and this feels like the builds are empty. Why are they not covered in some black shade or covered as in city living? This looks like my builds are half unfurnished and I find it super ugly. One thing that clearly is buggy, that tenants would come to my own rooms. This happened with multiple different safes when the room was clearly marked as my private, not a shared space, and I think this is clearly a bug. You can improve your maintenance rating by keeping things clean and repaired and having good relationship with your tenants. But again, I never knew where I stand, like how much do I have to do so that I progress. I will also not count this because I already did it before to keep it fair. But what I will count is that outside of your emergency or maintenance events, the only thing you can do to improve your maintenance score is to go around and click inspection and maintenance, inspection and maintenance, inspection and maintenance. Or you can upgrade the stove or fridge, and after one lease period, this gets so boring and repetitive. Of course, I wanted to skyrocket my rating, but apart from just really becoming friends with my tenants, all I would do every morning is wake up, get breakfast, and go inspection and maintenance, inspection and maintenance. My next point is that tenants breaking the rules was more like playing pretend. In our live stream, our tenant had his bedroom right next to our room, and we got this notification that he is making some social events and there were Sims seen coming and going out of his room, when in reality, it was complete silence. What I want to see with a pop-up like this about social events is a bunch of random Sims coming to my lot, me not knowing them, maybe them starting dancing, and that is when I want to give the Sim a fine. For example, with city living, if you get a notification about loud noises, your Sims cannot sleep. And here is kind of just like, by the way, if you didn't notice, it was loud. And something I am super sad about is that they showed us the exact opposite in the trailer, and it is totally not mirrored in the game, which I think is very misleading and deceptive. One very small thing that got me really angry was that now you have to decide to enter a unit twice. Let me explain. Once you want to go to a tenant unit, you do click on visit unit, that is all good. Then I go through a loading screen. Oh well, okay, one more point also for that, because I have never gone through so many loading screens in my life. But okay, all good. Then I am finally in the unit. So I start my usual inspection and maintenance, inspection and maintenance, inspection and maintenance, just to find out after I am done with clicking on it 6 different times with 6 different objects that I have to knock on the door before I enter the unit. Why? I already said I want to enter the unit. Next one, prosecuting a fine. How comes that if a tenant does not want to pay me a fine, my unit rating drops? How does this make sense? Yes, I can justly evict them, more to that juicy bug later, but why should my rating drop because they are doing something wrong? Here again, why does it have no impact on the tenant if they do something like this? Where is the rating? Where is the impact? One more thing I don't understand is if a tenant does some other things, for example, like starting a fire in the shared spaces, it does not affect them in any way. And by the way, this new grill is either buggy or cursed or both, I swear. Every time I own it, I would catch fire so much I couldn't catch a break. And what is even better, my tenants would cook on it or grill on it and they would make it catch fire, and when it burned, I had to pay for it, not them. Next point on the list, getting rent paid. And this was a huge one in the community because no one could figure out why they are playing for so long and not getting the rent paid. Then I heard someone saying you get paid on Wednesday, so I started my private gameplay and I was dedicated to play until I get my rent paid. And I did! But the second Wednesday in the game. Let's calculate something. One Sims hour takes roughly 1 minute in real life. One Sims day has 24 hours. You start a new Sims save on Sunday and get paid on second Wednesday, which is in total 10 full Sims days. This means it takes 240 minutes in real life or 4 hours of gameplay to get paid for the first time. Let's be realistic, sometimes you triple speed, blah 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 blah, other factors, so even if we drop it to a half, 2 hours of gameplay in real life is just too long to get paid for the first time. For several hours you are struggling with money, not getting any reward from the new gameplay you were so excited about and is the main feature of this pack. I started started my private gameplay at 8 p.m. and played until 11 p.m. And by the time I went to sleep in real life, I still didn't get paid rent once, which is very frustrating to be playing the whole evening and not seeing the money once. Another thing that I will count because I find it super counterintuitive is why are we not getting our rent paid after the lease period, but rather every time on Wednesday? I feel like this was super confusing for everyone. Now let's say you have some extra cash in your pocket and you would like to improve your unit rating by maybe buying some better amenities or decorating some of the units. You have to wait for the grace period. Well, okay, this is not a bug, this is a feature. Grace period is here, yay! Finally I can change the price, lease period, and adjust the unit in build and buy, except you can't. Not once was I able to change the price, lease length, or change anything in build and buy during the grace period. Not once. What is more, the only way I was able to change these was by evicting my tenant, which is super sad given you spend time building the relationship and then you have to evict them to place one painting on the wall. But okay, this is a bug, we will accept it, we will forget it. Hopefully there are no other bugs. So now that you are actually in the grace period and you want to add this one painting to the unit, you can justly evict your tenants from the unit, which says that justly eviction carries no repercussions, while the unjustly one affects your unit rating, relationships, and you can be fined. Well, for sure I don't want that. Thanks God it's grace period and there is no risk with justly eviction. Except it doesn't work. Every single time I justly evicted my tenants, and I want to once again point out with a new save and all the mods disabled, my whole effort went down the toilet because my rating dropped, my relationship dropped to the very red levels, and I got a call multiple times with a fine of 500 simoleons for unjustly eviction, although it was very clearly a justly eviction in the grace period. And this was so frustrating because everything I was working on for hours in real life in the game really just disappeared. All this boring, repetitive maintenance and upgrading gameplay were gone and my maintenance score dropped to insufficient. Then I got bills! And the combination of not getting your rent paid for such a long time in the beginning, my daily rent price dropping because of bugged justly evictions, and being fined for the bugged justly evictions made it impossible for me to even pay my bills quite a few times. Also, for example, I got a notification that a stove in one unit has an explosive malfunction and I have to replace it, no other options, but again, I had no money, so I just had to leave it and my rating dropped. So this whole pack was advertised as this way how you get multiple investments and you get so rich by being a landlord, but at the end I was so broke for 2 hours of gameplay in real life and I was just hoping to make some money by gardening. Talking about emergency events, I found at least one that was really buggy and difficult to complete, and that was the haunting one. I had to exorcise the ghost, which was impossible because they have to be haunting an object, which they were not, and I could keep confronting the ghost multiple times and it wouldn't count. So again, my rating went down. Next is tenant revolts, and these feel so random to me. What happened? I have screenshots from my private gameplay. I got a revolt from this 4-star unit, which I find extremely random. I would expect tenants from a unit which has 1 or 2 stars to revolt, but not from a 4-star unit. But then a screenshot from 1 minute later shows that while they were revolting, their unit rating rose to 5 stars. And this just shows me how very random these revolts are. I feel like they should really be an impact of you not taking care of your property and not your tenants revolting when they have a 5-star or 4-star unit. Another thing I didn't like about this is that you really just have to tell your tenants that you will take care of everything and be a better landlord, and they're like, oh, okay. Like, except from no reasons for a revolt, there are also no consequences of a revolt. Next thing, I was super excited about some rags to riches kind of style of playing with this. So you start with just renting maybe 2 empty bedrooms in your house with shared bathrooms and kitchen, and then you slowly climb up as you maybe earn more from renting and build whole units with their private kitchens and private bathrooms and get more money this way. And we planned exactly this kind of gameplay for my 12-hour stream as the pack released. But another minus for me is that this pack is really not playable like this. Renting rooms is just not viable, and I was struggling so hard for 12 hours straight to get my rooms to have at least 3 stars rating and to get some money at all. This is because the size and amenities really obviously play a huge role in your unit rating. So this pack is really directed towards renting out a full-blown apartments, not really renting, for example, student rooms, which I think is a huge pity. Next, I feel like a huge selling point of this pack was how the tenants will be inevitably tangled up in each other's lives and there will be drama, and I saw none of that. I mean, yes, I would see my tenants go around the house and cook, use bathrooms, talk to me, but there was no connections or drama happening, except if I would initiate it. And that is possible even without this pack. I would maybe expect some 2 tenants from 2 different units in my rental property would start dating, and they would maybe just let me know that they are moving out together, or I would see them kissing in bathroom, or maybe, as I said before, I would expect my tenants to throw a party in my renting property and a bunch of random sims appearing, or maybe my tenants would initiate a garden party and would just invite me to join it in my own garden, kind of like this roof party that was happening in in the trailer. But nothing out of the ordinary was happening, no drama, nothing. Actually, I would say quite the opposite. It was very dry and everyone was living their separate lives, except if I came and initiated maybe some conversation or relationship. Talking about the drama, let's move on to snooping, secrets, breaking in. Let's start with breaking in. In the trailer, it looked like some big evil feature and it would feel super rewarding, but it is nothing like that. The animation of breaking in is super dramatic, by the way, but we also saw in the developer's live stream, and it also was confirmed in my private gameplays, that this is super underwhelming. Your Sims can be breaking into someone's house right in front of their eyes and they will not come and fight you. I had a gameplay where my Sims would break in, then make a lemonade in the dressing gown, and when the property owners came in, nothing happened, no fight, no argument, no leave my house or I will call the police, nothing. And they would actually talk as if nothing was happening. Why cannot there be some adrenaline to it or some game? So let's say I have to escape, but as long as I am not in the same room with someone who is living there, they cannot see me, so I can escape technically, but if we are in the same room at some point, they will fight me, something like that. In the trailer, it looked like super much fun. It looked like it will bring this adrenaline and reward. It was really nothing like that. Next, secrets. You can also snoop on other Sims and find out their secrets. And yes, those are some funny references for the Sims players, referring to popular bugs, challenges, things you recognize as a Simmer, but they are randomized for the Sims. They have nothing to do with them, and I guess they also have no impact on their behavior. And this to me is the same as randomized likes and dislikes for the Sims. So for example, Bella Goth can get randomized that she hates red, and it just doesn't make sense and you start ignoring this feature. Other than that, the fact how this was supposed to be a super fun feature, you can then threaten Sims when you know their secrets, and they give you 100 simoleons, and that's it. It's super predictable, there is no adrenaline about it, no thrill, nothing. This would be roughly everything I have to say about the renting system, and I'm also quite tired about talking about it at this point, but all I have to say, I was so very excited about renting and this gameplay, but it got me rage quit multiple times because of how non-functional and also underwhelming it is. This is an expansion pack, I paid 40 euros for it, and I wanted to love it, but with this being the main gameplay feature of the new expansion pack, all I got was frustration. And trust me, I went back to the game multiple times in private just to figure out what I am doing wrong. Why is it not working? I am sure it is fun and I just have to figure it out, but unfortunately it really is not working at the moment, or at least some of the things that are working are just not detailed. They have no depth, no excitement to them. Now let's focus on some other things in the gameplay. Let's talk about the new world Tomarang. Let me first say I am so happy again. We have a new world that is so different from any other world we have. I love a cultural representation of yet another group of Simmers. It is beautiful and it makes me feel like I want to go for a vacation there, especially now that here in Europe we have winter, but it has only 9 lots. And once again, this is an expansion pack focused on building. So where should you build? And even looking at the lots we have, the biggest one is 40 by 30, the rest is 30 by 20 or smaller. Are you kidding me? You are supposed to fit multiple apartments within one build now, and you give us these tiny lots. This is ridiculous, and this is supposed to be a builder's pack for most part, and you give us 9 tiny lots? The builds were done by EA itself, and I have to say I am pleased compared to some other builds from the older packs. At least I can take these seriously. And now let's talk about some activities to do in the world of Tomarang. The night market was a huge selling point of this pack, and yes, visually it is absolutely beautiful. I love how it's lit in the night with all the beautiful colors, but all the buts in this review, but apart from looking good, there is nothing new to it. You have, I believe, 4 selling tables with food and souvenirs kind of, and I love the ability to buy local types of food and drinks, but this is something we have already in City Living too. I have seen my Sims buy street food and eat it outside a million times already. I would like to see something more to it if I am to be really excited about it, and I don't know what exactly because I don't come from this culture that this pack is based on, but maybe at least some kind of dancing on the street, or let's say those lanterns that were in the trailer. Also with the fish market little house, I love the idea of fish market specifically, but why is this a rabbit hole? It would have so much value if this was really like a counter where I would see a Sims that is selling this fish to me, or even maybe have an animation of how they go and catch the fish I just ordered before my eyes. We have the fishing animations in the game already. Right next to the night market there is a botanical garden, which was also advertised, and yet another disappointment. When you say botanical garden, I expect different types of domestic and exotical plants, flowers, palms, some educational stuff to explore, maybe activities. What is this botanical garden? A public lot with a park lot type with 1 grill, 1 trash can, and 4 places to sit. No activities, nothing. Absolutely nothing. This lot, in my opinion, is extremely lazy and unfinished. I don't know why I would ever come here with my Sims, honestly. Animal Sanctuary is another hugely advertised advertised feature, and guess what? It is a rabbit hole. I have to say this, I don't care about how amazing the long stories in the pop-ups are and that I can choose what will happen. This is a video game. Reading huge texts is not fun at all. Quite the opposite, it is very boring no matter what you write. If I want to read an adventurous text, I will read a book and not play a video game. So the idea can be good or cute, but as long as I don't see anything happening from the moment I enter the animal sanctuary till the moment I leave it, no matter which interaction I choose, I have to read and imagine what is happening, and this is not fun at all, and I really don't want to use it. It did not have to be tigers. I would be super happy with it being butterflies and me catching them like in The Sims 3, but it's not. It's a rabbit hole. Another similar situation is this temple. I was praying for it to be fun, but another rabbit hole. If I could at least see my Sims go up the stairs to the door and then disappear to the rabbit hole, but in the meanwhile, it is so lazy that they disappear way before it. And then you just get a pop-up about how beautiful it is inside. So you can just imagine. Really, Sims, do you think this is either engaging, fun, or meaningful? I just really don't get it. This one is kind of a weird one, but I noticed that with the world, the plants that are used are from different packs, so it looks like a recycled content, which I am not happy about. I found out because I wanted to increase my environment score by adding some plants outside my rental, and I always love if I can exactly match with the ones nearby outside the lot. But I didn't find them with For Rent. By fact, For Rent came with no plants at all. All of them were from Island Living or Jungle Adventure. And I do understand that those themes might be similar and why develop some new plants then. But then again, if most of the stuff is buggy and there is little new content, where did all the resources go, and why is this not a game pack? Regarding some other gameplay things, I want to talk about marbles. I was so happy to find out we have this new collection. I do enjoy these colorful collections like snow globes, these little figures from Snowy Escape, and this is very similar. In one gameplay, I got this Moonwood Mel marble, and I just love it. But why can only kids play with them? When me and my sister were little kids, we loved to invite our grandparents to play with us some games when we were visiting them or maybe spending Christmas together. And for our case, it was mostly, let's say, card games. But why is this different from playing marbles? Why can't kids play with their parents or grandparents? So again, this just feels unfinished to me. The last thing in the gameplay category I want to talk about is mold. This is a new challenge, so you can turn it on for some extra challenge in your game. And here I don't have anything bad to say. I got molds multiple times, but it was very manageable to get rid of them. I did not experience death by mold, and I think I heard little Simsy saying that she had to actively try to get killed by the mold. So no points to the counter for mold for me. I am just very neutral about this. Overall, I feel like with gameplay features, I just spent so much time trying to figure out how renting works that I didn't maybe have so much time to play with other things. But at the same time, what else big features for the gameplay there are, like rabbit holes or empty park? I feel like, for example, with Horse Ranch, I was very kind with the review because horses take so much to animate. It's a fully new creature to the pack. But here, renting is mostly a bunch of pop-ups where you choose unit rules or change price. It is mostly maintenance and repairing, which is the same animations as always with repairing stuff. There are no new creatures included, nothing. So for this quality and depth of the gameplay, and by that I mean the main gameplay feature, I would maybe expect some smaller features, maybe like a new instrument, some new skills, anything. Let's move on to Kaz, and here, because this video is already probably very long as it is, I will not go so much in detail regarding Kaz, and by that I mean clothing specifically. I want to make a separate video of Kaz review for The Sims 4 for Rent, so that maybe I can show you some of my favorite pieces from this pack and maybe also some outfits I like to make with that. So if you are maybe interested in this, make sure to subscribe and I will see you in the Kaz review. But I will talk in depth now about aspirations and traits in this review. Regarding aspirations, we got 4 new ones, and I think this is a good variety that I would expect from an expansion pack. We got Snooper of Secrets, connected to the snooping and secrets. Found of Tomarang knowledge, which is like exploring the world of Tomarang, 5-star property owner, which is having multiple renting units with good rating, and a discerning dweller, which is about being the best tenant. Generally, I think they are kind of consistent with the other aspirations in The Sims. They are pack tutorials to some degree, but we just have to get over this at this point. Sims 4 aspirations will just never be Sims 3 aspirations or anything like that, where you had to max 1 career and 1 skill, so it was more difficult. It would be just very inconsistent with the aspirations that we already have in the game. So I will not count this towards our counter, because I feel actually positively about having 4 different aspirations within one pack. Regarding traits, we got 4 new traits: Wise, which is Elder Sim specific, Nosy, Child of the Village, and Generous. I am a huge fan, especially of the Generous one. This is of course how I would describe also some people I know in real life, so I am happy to have this in The Sims. In the game, I didn't see much generosity in maybe a meaning of wanting to donate money to the charity, but this might be just me. However, I did experience some extremes that community was mentioning regarding the child of the village trait, and that my Sims would become sad from not being connected to Tomarang enough, although they are at the moment in Tomarang, so this is of course a little bit annoying. And another annoying one was nosy. When my Sim was nosy, they would not spy from far away like it was shown in the trailer. First of all, they would not spy on some strangers, but for example on their spouse, and second of all, they would do it right in front of them and take the binoculars out and really be spying on them when they were sitting next to each other. This happened to me multiple times and it got the spouse weirded out and have these negative moodlets, so I guess this was just not very well playtested. And I will not count this, but can someone tell me why kids cannot be generous or nosy? I feel like being nosy is such a very childish thing to do. I will talk also more generally about clothes now. I was surprised by the nice female hairstyles. Male hairstyles are repetitive and nothing groundbreaking. With female tops and bottoms, I was not too impressed. I found them plain, but this is supposed to be what people wear in Southeast Asia, and I am not from this culture, so not really a minus from me. I guess this is more of a personal preference, but I was very pleased with female full body outfits. They featured nice combination with some beautiful floral and striped patterns, but also the plain ones, except this one, which gets super weird around your waist if you don't have this unrealistic Sims tiny waist. A minus point from me because this is a super cute outfit, but as a content creator, I mostly don't want to play with Sims with this super unrealistic waist, and this was not some gameplay bug. Having Sims with various body types is very predictable and could have been corrected. With male Sims, I felt like it's mostly some plain shirts or tank tops, so for me personally missing some statement pieces, but I was hopeful it would be the same as the female category, that full body outfits would save it. Well, they didn't. There is one outfit for when you are repairing something for your tenants and one locked for the handyman career, which is very disappointing for an expansion pack. I have to admit I am very pleased with the new shoes options and I already use them a lot. Kids get some new things as well. I am kind of pleased by the new options for infants. I just don't understand why we could not get some more interesting signature hairstyles for toddlers and infants, but just this plain hair that we kind of have already in the game. So this will be a more general review for cast for The Sims 4 for rent, and if you are interested in a little bit of more in-depth review, make sure to check out the video once it's out. Let's do the best of this pack as last, and that is build and buy. This pack is somewhere between being gameplay focused and builder focused in my opinion, and I'm happy that at least one of these options was executed quite well. Although I will admit some of the pieces are not my personal taste, but once again this is not about my preference and I will not increase the counter because of it. This is about the cultural representation of the Southeast Asia, and it seems like they delivered well on that. This pack has a new lot type, residential rental, where you can easily assign different rooms to different renting units, and I think this is done very intuitively, so I am very happy with that. I will say there are many complaints about the lag problems when building on the residential rental lot, but as I already mentioned, a patch was released one day before recording this, so I really hope that they fixed it with that. There is a lot of wooden furniture. What makes me happy is that it seems like the wood swatches are matching. We got a new toilet, which I was very curious about how they will execute, and let me tell you, I have never used such a toilet, so this was quite exotic to me, but I am happy again for some different representation, especially as we have so many Western toilets already in the game. It's kind of like hairstyles in The Sims 4. What new can you invent after 71 packs? So I am very happy with that. Another thing I am super excited about is the kettle. We got one modern one and one traditional one. I am also a proud owner of kettle in real life. I use it multiple times a day, every day, for coffee, for tea, to boil my water, for cooking, for anything. And I also love how it works. First, you just let the kettle boil. This is just water so far, not any specific drink yet. Once it is ready, you can choose which drink you want to prepare from it, tea, coffee, or hot chocolate. And what I love about this is that you can prepare up to 5 different drinks from boiling the kettle once, just like in real life. Another thing I love is the pressure cooker. We thought it would be a rice cooker, but you can also prepare, for example, a soup in it. I have to say though, a content creator, Matini, pointed out that their national Malaysian dish, nasi lemak, looks completely different than what it should look like, and the comparison is astonishing. I just don't understand why most of foods in The Sims 4 have to look so weird. Like, this is not Minecraft. I don't know, like, Sims, please blink twice if you are restricted to 10 by 10 pixels. I just don't understand. We got 3 absolutely amazing floor tiles. I know I will use this all the time now in my bathrooms. I'm a bit sad though because we didn't get the matching wallpapers for them. This is such a missed opportunity. Let me now show you some random build and buy items that I really like in no specific order. The new kitchen cabinets are really beautiful. I love the colors and the handles, everything. The new bathroom sink with this kind of floral pattern, the classic plastic garden chair. This is so very much a Slavic thing as well, I have to say, including the dirty swatches. The new hot tub is beautiful and original. Some cute inside plants I will use all the time. these customizable curtains that you can really play around with as you need, the new colorful lanterns. From some decorations, I love the new dish rack, takeout containers, mortar and pestle, and elephant teapot. When it comes to some negatives, I already gave a negative point to our counter for the ever-burning grill. I just got so allergic to this one, I think I will never use it in my life. Another thing that I think was so great as an idea, but the execution was a little bit lazy, is the new, smaller dishwasher. The idea was so great. I hate these huge, chunky dishwashers we have in the game, but the way it snaps to the middle of the counter, that makes no sense. It is just a missed opportunity for something new, so plus one to the counter. But all in all, except from the lag issues that hopefully will get fixed, I think that builders will really enjoy this pack. And now to the conclusion. I will be honest, except if they fix all the issues and bugs mentioned in this review, I just don't think this feels like an expansion pack worth $40/euros, and even if they do, still I am not sure about that. This feels like a game pack for me. I paid the same and didn't wait for sale, also because of my YouTube channel, for Growing Together and Horse Ranch, but I feel like I was at least not really regretting it. But with The Sims 4 for rent, it really just feels a little bit like waste of money, especially with me being a game player and gameplay being so very broken. I also want to say I totally understand some people enjoying this pack, for example, because they are builders or because this is their cultural representation. I am not saying that I wouldn't enjoy any part of it or that you shouldn't buy it. All that I am saying, I personally would not buy it for the full price. And trust me, I really tried. After streaming it for 12 hours, I really sat down in calm in my pajamas and tried to play it and figure it out. I really thought that I'm just missing something, but it really is just broken. And I want to emphasize once again that so many times I tried it with my mods disabled, which was a very painful experience just by itself. And I am so sad also about this review. I was really hoping that the patch would fix most of these things and it wouldn't have to be so negative, but I just cannot act like nothing is happening. I just cannot. And with that being said, I really just don't think I will ever play as a landlord until they fix the bugs, because it's really frustrating, unplayable, and it gets me to rage quit, which I normally never do. Alright, so I will go edit this video and post probably the totally last review from the whole Sims community. Thank you so very much for being here throughout the whole video and supporting me in this way, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!